All right, get ready, because we're diving deep into Stoicism today.
Oh yeah, some serious Stoic wisdom.
You sent us this video, and it's pretty interesting.
It's in Persian.
Yeah, and it outlines 9 strategies inspired by the Stoics.
For navigating life's challenges and achieving inner peace.
Yeah, for finding that inner peace that we all crave.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, these are not your typical self-help tips.
Right.
They're a lot more...
A lot deeper.
Yeah, they're much deeper, and they offer a really unique perspective.
I think what's so fascinating is how these Stoic principles, they're rooted in ancient philosophy, but they feel so relevant to the things we're dealing with today.
Absolutely.
Like it's a framework for inner strength and resilience in a world that often feels very chaotic.
Totally. And you know what really caught my eye?
What's that?
The Stoics believed that talking too much about your future plans could actually hinder your progress.
Interesting.
It's almost like you're jinxing yourself, right?
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack all 9 of these strategies.
Okay.
Explore the philosophy behind them and see how you can apply them to your own life.
Awesome, because at the end of the day, knowledge is most powerful when it's understood and put into practice.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
The first strategy, and this one really made me think, is don't talk about your problems.
Huh.
It's a bit counterintuitive, right?
Yeah. Our first instinct is usually to vent or seek advice when things get tough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when things are hard.
Yeah, and the Stoics weren't suggesting that we just bottle everything up.
Right.
But instead, they were emphasizing acceptance.
Accepting that challenges are just a part of life and focusing your energy on what you can control.
Yes.
Your reactions and actions.
So it's less about complaining and more about problem solving.
Yeah, I love that.
There's this quote from Marcus Aurelius that I think perfectly captures this.
Okay.
The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
Ooh, I like that quote. It's a good one. It reminds us that obstacles are inherent to any journey.
Yeah.
In fact, they often become the catalyst for growth and innovation.
So true. The video gives this really relatable example.
Okay.
Imagine you're stuck in traffic.
Ugh, we've all been there.
Right. Instead of fuming and stressing about something you can't change.
Yeah.
What if you use that time productively?
What?
Listen to a podcast. Practice some mindfulness.
Oh.
Maybe just enjoy a few moments of peace.
Just be present.
Yeah, it's a shift in perspective.
That's brilliant.
It is.
Reframing a situation that so many of us find frustrating, instead of dwelling on the problem, look for opportunities for growth.
Yes.
Even in the midst of challenges.
It's making me rethink how I react to those everyday annoyances.
Me too.
Okay, ready for strategy number 2?
Hit me.
Don't reveal your secrets.
Ooh, that's an intriguing one.
It is.
The Stoics really valued protecting one's inner world.
Yeah.
Choosing confidants wisely. Understanding that not everyone needs access to your most private thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
Seneca put it pretty bluntly, if you want to keep a secret, keep it to yourself.
Straight to the point.
Right.
But in today's world of oversharing on social media, this advice feels particularly relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
We're so quick to just put everything out there.
Right.
But maybe the Stoics were onto something with this idea of discretion.
While connecting with others is important,
Yes.
this Stoic principle encourages us to be mindful about what we share and with whom.
I'm curious, though, isn't there value in vulnerability? Sharing our experiences, even the tough stuff, can create deeper connections.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So how do we balance this Stoic advice with the need for openness in relationships?
That's a great question. And it really gets to the heart of applying these principles in a nuanced way. Vulnerability can definitely be powerful for building relationships, but the key is discernment.
Okay.
Choosing the right time, the right people, and the right level of sharing.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's about being intentional, not just spilling everything out there for the sake of it.
I love that.
Okay, let's move on to strategy number 3.
All right.
Don't talk about your achievements.
This one feels a bit counterintuitive.
Doesn't it?
In our culture.
Yeah, we're almost conditioned to celebrate our whims.
Right.
To seek validation from others.
Yes.
But the Stoics had a different perspective.
What was that?
They believed that true success comes from within, not from external validation.
Interesting.
There's a powerful quote from Epictetus that I think really highlights this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it.
Ooh, I like that one too.
It's good, right?
Yeah, let your actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. I can see how that aligns with the Stoic emphasis on humility and inner strength.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk that if we never share our achievements, we miss opportunities to inspire others or to celebrate our own progress.
You raise a valid point, and I think it's about finding that balance. You know, the Stoics weren't saying that we can't acknowledge our accomplishments
Right.
or share them with people who are genuinely supportive.
Yeah.
But they were cautioning against seeking validation from others
Okay.
as the primary measure of success.
So it's more about the motivation behind the sharing.
Yes.
If it's coming from a place of genuine joy or a desire to connect,
Yeah.
that's different from seeking external praise just to boost our ego.
Absolutely. It's a subtle but important distinction.
It is. The video gives an interesting example.
Okay.
Imagine completing a challenging project
Okay.
instead of immediately boasting about it.
Right.
This Stoic principle encourages you to just pause, acknowledge your own efforts and growth,
Yeah.
and savor that internal satisfaction.
That feeling of accomplishment.
Yes, before seeking external validation.
So it's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from within. And it ties back to that idea of focusing on what you can control, which is your own effort and intention rather than how other people perceive your success.
That's really making me think about how much I rely on external validation.
Right.
Okay, let's dive into strategy number 4. And this one I think is a real game changer.
Okay.
The power of strategic silence.
So this isn't just about being quiet.
Yeah.
It's about being intentional with our words
Yes.
and recognizing that sometimes saying less is more powerful.
Like that saying, think before you speak, but with a Stoic twist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Stoics understood that talking too much about future plans, especially before they're fully formed, can create unnecessary pressure
Yeah.
and can even trick your brain into feeling like you've already achieved the goal.
It's like we get a premature sense of accomplishment
Right.
just by talking about it,
Yeah,
which then saps our motivation to actually do the work.
precisely. And the video gives a really great example.
Okay.
Imagine you're working on a new business plan,
Okay.
but you haven't quite ironed out the details or secured funding. Sharing it too early could expose you to criticism or doubt,
Yeah.
which might discourage you from continuing.
So by keeping your plans under wraps,
Yeah.
at least in those initial stages, you're protecting your focus and allowing yourself space to experiment and refine your ideas without the pressure of those external expectations.
It's like protecting that seed of an idea
Yes.
until it's strong enough to sprout.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And this strategy isn't just about big, ambitious plans.
Right.
It can apply to everyday situations too,
Like what?
like deciding to start a new workout routine
Yeah.
or learn a new skill.
Sometimes the sheer act of announcing our intentions
Yes.
makes us feel like we've already taken action,
Yeah.
when in reality, the real work is just beginning.
We get that dopamine hit from the social validation,
Yes.
but then our motivation fizzles out.
Exactly.
Wow, I can see how this plays out in my own life all the time.
Me too.
So before you share your next goal, maybe just pause and ask yourself, will talking about it help me achieve it? Or will it just create distractions?
Such a powerful question to consider.
Yeah, and it leads us perfectly into the next Stoic strategy,
Oh, good.
which also deals with mindful communication.
Okay.
Don't talk about others.
No gossip.
No gossip allowed in the Stoic playbook.
I love it.
It's fascinating how many of these strategies connect back to the way we use our words
Right.
and the impact they have both on ourselves and others.
It's about recognizing that gossip is a drain on our time and energy,
Yes.
resources that could be better spent on self-improvement and positive action.
I love how Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.
Mic drop moment right there.
I know, right?
And it's a powerful reminder that instead of dissecting other people's lives,
Yes.
we should focus on our own character development and strive to be the best versions of ourselves.
You know, it's funny because we often engage in gossip without even realizing the toll it takes.
It's true.
Think about the last time you engaged in gossip. Did it leave you feeling energized and positive?
Probably not.
Or did you feel a bit drained, maybe even a little guilty?
Yeah, there's usually an underlying negativity to it.
Yeah, it's like we're dimming our own light by focusing on the perceived flaws of others. So this Stoic strategy is a reminder that our words have power,
Yes, they do.
and we can choose to use them to uplift and inspire,
Yeah.
or to tear down and diminish.
And that choice is ours to make every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to strategy number 6, which builds upon this idea of mindful communication.
Okay.
Don't talk about your good deeds.
Interesting.
This one speaks to the Stoic belief that true virtue lies in doing good without seeking attention or recognition.
I like that.
Seneca captured it beautifully.
How do you say it?
The reward for a good deed is to have done it.
Simple but profound.
It's about finding fulfillment in the act itself,
Yeah.
not in the praise or accolades that might follow.
In a world that's obsessed with social media and broadcasting our every move, this principle is a potent reminder to check our motivations.
Yes.
Are we helping others out of genuine compassion? Or are we seeking validation and applause?
It's a subtle but important distinction.
It is.
And I think it ties back to that Stoic concept of virtue as its own reward.
True virtue doesn't need an audience.
It does.
It's a reward in itself.
Right. It's about aligning our actions with our values,
Yes.
not with the desire for external recognition.
So here's a challenge for you.
Okay.
Next time you do something kind, resist the urge to broadcast it.
I like it.
Savor that internal satisfaction of making a positive impact.
Yes.
Knowing that your actions speak louder than any social media post.
So true. Okay, let's move on to strategy number 7.
Okay, what is it?
This one might feel a little vulnerable,
No.
and it's crucial for growth.
Okay, let's hear it.
It is accept your weak points.
Accepting our weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, vulnerability can be tough.
It can be, but it's also where the real transformation happens.
The Stoics understood that acknowledging our weaknesses is crucial for self-improvement. But they also recognize the potential vulnerability that comes with exposing them to others.
Right, so it's about being selective about who we share our struggles with.
Yeah, not everyone deserves access to our most vulnerable selves.
Exactly. Seneca used this really powerful metaphor. He who shows the world his weaknesses is like a city without walls.
Wow, that's a striking image.
It is.
It highlights the need for discretion and discernment in who we choose to confide in.
It's not about denying our imperfection.
Right.
Or pretending to be someone we're not.
Yeah.
But it's about recognizing that sharing our vulnerabilities indiscriminately
Yeah.
can leave us open to criticism or judgment or even manipulation.
It's about choosing our battles wisely and focusing our energy on transforming those weaknesses into strengths,
Yes.
which often requires a degree of privacy and inner work.
I can see how this strategy could lead to deeper self-acceptance and personal growth. Okay, ready to delve into strategy number 8.
I'm ready. What is it?
This one is all about protecting something precious.
What's that?
Keep your dreams secret.
Keeping our dreams safe.
The Stoics were fiercely protective of their dreams and aspirations.
Yeah.
They understood that dreams are delicate and can easily be crushed by doubt or negativity.
So true.
Seneca had this really thought-provoking quote about dreams and expectations.
Oh, I love Seneca. What did he say?
He said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today."
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a reminder to focus on the present moment,
Yeah.
to not get too caught up in future anxieties or expectations. But it also speaks to the importance of safeguarding our dreams,
Yeah.
of not exposing them to the harsh light of judgment too early.
Exactly. Sharing them prematurely can invite skepticism or negativity,
Yeah.
which can really diminish our enthusiasm and motivation.
It's like planting a seed and then immediately digging it up to see if it's growing.
Yeah, such a good analogy.
Dreams need time and space to germinate and develop, and that often requires a degree of privacy and protection.
And it's not about abandoning our dreams
Right.
or keeping them locked away forever.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance between nurturing our aspirations
Yes.
and shielding them from unnecessary negativity.
So think about your own dreams.
Yeah.
How can you protect them while still working towards them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe it's choosing a select few trusted individuals to share your aspirations with. Or perhaps it's keeping a dream journal where you can freely explore your visions and goals
Yeah.
without that fear of judgment.
Without judgment.
The key is to create a safe space for your dreams to take root and flourish.
I love that. And it leads us to the final Stoic strategy from this video.
Okay.
Solitude as a sanctuary.
Yes. This one really resonated with me.
Me too. I think it's something we often undervalue in our hyper-connected world.
We're constantly bombarded with information,
Right.
stimulation, and demands on our attention.
But the Stoics understood the power of solitude, of creating that space for self-discovery,
Yes.
reflection, and renewal.
It's not about being antisocial or isolating yourself from others.
Right.
It's about intentionally carving out time for yourself.
Yes.
Away from the distractions and the demands of the outside world.
It's like hitting the pause button on that constant stream of input.
Yes.
And giving ourselves space to simply be.
Exactly. And the video highlighted some activities that benefit from solitude.
Like what?
Meditation journaling.
Oh, yeah.
Walking in nature. Reading, or even just sitting quietly with your thoughts.
Love it.
It's about creating a space where we can connect with our inner selves,
Yeah.
process our experiences, and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and clarity.
And in today's world, solitude can feel like a rare and precious commodity.
It's almost like we've forgotten how to be alone with ourselves, to be present in the quiet moments.
Right.
But it's more essential now than ever. So I encourage you to experiment with incorporating more intentional solitude into your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this grand gesture. Start small.
Start small.
Even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet spot, close your eyes, and just breathe.
Just breathe or take a walk in nature without your phone.
Yes.
Let your mind wander.
Yeah.
Observe your surroundings.
Yeah.
Reconnect with yourself.
These small acts of solitude can have a profound impact on your well-being.
For sure.
And on your ability to navigate the challenges of daily life.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think it ties back to the idea of focusing on what we can control.
Right.
We can't always control the external circumstances of our lives.
Right.
But we can control how we respond to them.
Exactly.
And solitude gives us the space to cultivate that inner resilience.
Yes.
To create a sanctuary within ourselves.
Yeah, inner sanctuary.
That we can always return to no matter what challenges we're facing in the outer world.
Beautifully said. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dive into these 9 Stoic strategies.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's so much more to explore.
So much more. Welcome back to our deep dive into these 9 Stoic strategies from that video you sent.
Yeah. In the first part, we went through each strategy individually, really delving into the philosophy behind each one.
I think it'd be helpful now to kind of step back and look at how all of these strategies connect.
Yeah, good point. It's like we've been examining these individual threads.
Yeah.
And now we need to see how they weave together.
Exactly like a tapestry.
Yeah, to create that larger tapestry.
And one of the themes that I see that runs through all 9 strategies is this focus on what we can control.
Yes.
The Stoics understood that so much of life is outside our direct control.
Right.
The weather, other people's opinions, unexpected events.
You can't control those things.
But we can control our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions.
And that's where these strategies come in, right?
Exactly. They provide a framework.
Yes.
For shifting our focus from the external to the internal, from complaining about things we can't change. Yeah.
To taking action on the things we can.
It's a really subtle but powerful shift in perspective.
Isn't it?
It is.
When we're constantly thinking about things outside our control, it leads to anxiety, frustration.
You feel powerless.
A sense of powerlessness. But when we focus on what we can influence,
Yes.
even if it's something small,
Yeah.
it creates a sense of agency.
Yeah. And empowerment.
Empowerment.
It's about taking back control of our own narrative. And in today's world, you know, where we're constantly bombarded with information and external pressures,
Yeah.
that feels really liberating.
I think it's so important.
I can see how that concept ties into a lot of the strategies that we've been talking about.
Like what?
For example, not talking about your problems.
Yeah.
That's really about shifting your energy from complaining to problem solving.
It's about asking yourself, what can I do about this situation?
Exactly.
Rather than woe is me.
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for not revealing your secrets.
It's about choosing very carefully who you let into your inner circle.
Yeah.
Recognizing that not everybody needs access to your most vulnerable thoughts and feelings.
Not everyone needs to know everything.
Exactly. It's a way of protecting your energy and focusing on your own growth.
It's like creating a boundary.
It is.
And those boundaries are essential for self-preservation.
Especially in a world that can feel so overwhelming.
Right.
Another key theme that emerges from these strategies, I think,
What's that?
is this emphasis on mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, both in our words and actions.
I like that.
So strategies like don't reveal your secrets, don't talk about your achievements, don't talk about your good deeds, all kind of point to this idea of choosing our words really carefully and being aware of the impact that they have.
Being aware of the impact.
Yeah, it's like we're being encouraged to become much more aware of our own internal dialogue.
Right.
And how that shapes our experiences.
It's about pausing before we speak, considering the intention behind our words, and choosing to use them in a way that aligns with our values.
And that mindfulness extends to our actions as well.
It does.
The Stoics placed a really high value on living in accordance with one's values.
Doing the right thing just because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly, not for external recognition or praise.
That makes me think of don't talk about your good deeds.
Yes.
Finding that fulfillment in the act itself, not in the applause that might follow.
Yeah, it's about cultivating that sense of integrity that just radiates outwards.
Yes.
Whether or not anyone else even notices.
And when we're living in alignment with our values, it creates a sense of inner peace and purpose that's not dependent on external circumstances.
It's like we're building our own internal compass, right? Guiding ourselves based on our own principles.
Yeah.
And not constantly seeking that validation from the outside world.
That's beautifully said.
So we've talked about focusing on what we can control.
Yeah.
And being mindful in our words and in our actions. And those seem to be two of the most prominent themes that kind of weave all of these strategies together.
They do.
Do you see any other key takeaways that you think would be helpful for our listeners to remember as they start to explore how to apply these Stoic principles in their own lives?
One that stands out to me is the importance of embracing solitude.
Yes.
We talked about it earlier, but it's worth emphasizing.
I agree.
The Stoics saw solitude as a sanctuary, a
Yes.
space for self-discovery, reflection, and renewal.
And in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with information and distractions,
Right.
carving out time for solitude can feel almost revolutionary.
It can.
It's interesting you say that because I've been experimenting with incorporating more solitude in my life.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing what a difference it's made.
Yeah.
Even just taking 10 minutes every morning to sit quietly or meditate or journal has really had an impact on my well-being.
Yeah.
It's like I'm creating a space for myself to reconnect with my inner self
Yeah.
before I get swept up in all the demands of the day.
That's wonderful. And it's a perfect example of how these Stoic principles can be woven into our modern lives. It doesn't have to be this grand gesture.
It doesn't.
It could be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to disconnect from the external world and reconnect with yourself.
Right. It's about finding those little pockets of stillness amidst the chaos.
Exactly.
And those moments of stillness can be so powerful.
Yeah.
Because they allow us to gain clarity, to process our experiences, and cultivate that inner resilience that we need to navigate the ups and downs of life.
I think it also ties back to focusing on what we can control.
Yes, it does.
We can't always control the external circumstances,
Right.
but we can control how we respond.
Exactly.
And solitude gives us that space to practice that response
yes.
and cultivate that inner strength.
I love that it's like we're creating a sanctuary within ourselves.
That we can always return to.
You can always return to no matter what's going on around us.
No matter what challenges life throws our way.
Yeah, and that sense of inner sanctuary, I think, is something that we can cultivate through these Stoic practices.
It is.
So as we move into the final part of this deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll explore some practical tips for integrating these Stoic strategies into our lives,
Yeah.
I want to pose a question to our listeners.
Go for it.
As you've been listening to us talk about this, what has been resonating with you?
Yeah.
Which strategy has sparked your curiosity or maybe inspired you to make a change?
We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights as we continue this exploration together.
Welcome back to our deep dive into these 9 Stoic strategies.
Yeah, we've unpacked each principle, explored the philosophy behind them,
And we saw how they all connect.
to create a framework for living with more intention and resilience.
Exactly. But now,
For the practical stuff.
how can we actually integrate these ancient but surprisingly relevant ideas?
Into our modern everyday lives.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah, it is. Because as we've said, knowledge without action,
Yeah.
it's like a seed that's never planted.
It has all that potential, but it doesn't really bear fruit.
So let's explore some ways that you can actually start putting these Stoic principles
Into practice.
into practice. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with something manageable.
Okay.
Remember that principle about not revealing your secrets?
Oh, yeah.
In today's world, that can mean being more mindful about what we share online.
On social media?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so easy to get caught up in that cycle of constantly broadcasting everything,
Right.
seeking validation from likes and comments.
But the Stoics might say,
Yeah,
is this really serving me or am I just adding to the noise?
and I think that ties back to that emphasis on focusing on what we can control. We can't control how others perceive or react to what we share online,
That's right.
but we can control what we choose to put out there.
We can?
So maybe instead of posting that, I'm so stressed, update,
Yeah.
we could take a few deep breaths and maybe try a Stoic technique, focusing on what we can control in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's shifting that energy from complaining to problem solving.
From seeking external validation to cultivating inner strength.
Exactly.
It's a small shift, but it's powerful.
It is. And remember Seneca's advice, if you want to keep a secret, keep it to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It might be the most powerful social media strategy out there.
I love that.
And speaking of secrets, let's talk about dreams.
Okay.
The Stoics were big on keeping your dreams secret.
Right. But that doesn't mean abandoning our aspirations.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's not about giving up on them.
It's about protecting them.
Yeah, nurturing them in a safe space until they're strong enough to face the world.
So imagine you have this amazing idea
Okay.
for a new project or a new venture.
Yeah.
Instead of shouting it from the rooftops,
Yeah.
what if you took some time to cultivate it in private?
Like giving it space to really germinate and grow.
Exactly, without the pressure of those external expectations.
Yes.
You could use that time to refine your vision.
Do your research.
Do your research experiments, seek guidance from a trusted mentor,
Yeah.
and then when you do share your dream with the world,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a fragile seedling.
Yeah,
It's a sturdy sapling ready to thrive.
that's a powerful image.
Right.
It reminds me of how important it is to be selective about who we share our dreams with.
Not everyone deserves access to our most vulnerable aspirations.
Not everyone, and that wisdom in choosing our confidants.
Yes.
That's a key aspect of Stoic philosophy.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about being mindful of what we share online
Mm-hmm.
and protecting our dreams.
Right.
What are some other practical ways that we can integrate these principles into our daily routines?
Like little changes that could have a big impact.
Exactly.
Well, I think one is incorporating more solitude into our lives.
Solitude. Yeah, we talked about that before, but it's worth repeating.
It's so important.
It is the Stoics saw solitude as a sanctuary.
Yeah. A space for self-discovery and reflection.
And in our culture, carving out time for solitude.
Can feel almost revolutionary.
I've been trying to incorporate more solitude into my day.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing what a difference it's made.
Even a few minutes.
Yeah, just taking 5 minutes to sit quietly or meditate or go for a walk without my phone.
It's been transformative.
It has.
Those little pockets of stillness can be so grounding.
I agree, especially amidst the chaos of modern life.
And you don't have to make some big gesture. It could be as simple as taking a few conscious breaths before you respond to a stressful email.
Or maybe carving out 10 minutes in the evening to journal or read.
Yes.
It's about creating those little rituals, those pauses throughout the day that allow us to reconnect with ourselves.
And I think it ties back to that Stoic idea of focusing on what we can control.
Yes.
We can't always control what's happening around us,
Right.
but we can control how we respond.
And solitude gives us the space to practice that response,
Yeah.
to cultivate that inner strength and resilience
It's like building an inner sanctuary
that we can always return to.
that we can always return to no matter what challenges life throws our way.
And that's the essence of Stoicism, isn't it?
It is.
It's not about avoiding challenge.
Well, pretending that life is always easy.
It's about cultivating the inner strength and the wisdom to navigate those challenges
With grace and resilience.
and a sense of peace that comes from within.
And the beauty of these Stoic strategies is that they're adaptable. You don't have to implement all of them at once.
Right.
Maybe just pick one that resonates with you and experiment with it.
Try it out. See how it feels.
Yeah.
You could focus on practicing strategic silence 1 week, being more mindful of your words.
Right. And then the next week,
Challenge yourself to respond to a difficult situation with stoic calm.
yes, instead of getting swept up in frustration.
It's about finding what works for you
Yeah.
and incorporating these principles in a way that feels authentic.
And sustainable.
Like we're creating this personalized toolkit for navigating life's ups and downs.
And the more we practice, the more skilled we become at using these tools.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with this invitation.
Choose one Stoic strategy.
Experiment with it this week. See what happens.
You might be surprised by the power of these ancient but timeless principles.
And remember, we're all in this together.
Keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep sharing your insights.
Maybe your journey will inspire others to embark on their own Stoic explorations.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 9 Stoic strategies.
Until next time.
Keep seeking wisdom, cultivating inner strength, and living a life of intention and purpose.